Many, and I mean many of you were saying a couple videos ago that I needed to cut my hair even shorter, and since time and time again I literally do your every bidding, I did it. I think I deserve 10,000 subscribers for this. Hi everyone, my name is Holly, and in today's video I have compiled a list of books that I am so freaking excited about that you might have no idea even exist. That's a scary thought. So that's my goal today, to get you guys excited for them as well, because oh boy do I have some good ones. Sometimes I just feel like there are some good fantasy books that just fly right under the radar, and today I am here to revive them. Holly has come to save the day, and I really want to do this more often, so I will be your savior, Lonesome Fantasy Books. So the very first book I am talking about today is Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade, and this one comes out November 5th. Kel Cade was actually picked up by Tor last year, and they stated in a recent article of theirs that this book needs to be highly anticipated, and oh boy am I highly anticipating it. It's the first book in a high fantasy series called Shroud of Prophecy, and like I said, it doesn't come out until November, so we still have quite a while for it. I love when just the cover can tell a story, and Fate of the Fallen is a prime example of that. It shows a man standing in what looks like a courtyard with a sword over his shoulder, and you just don't know if he's leaving home or if he just came back home from war. It's so intriguing to me. So I'm assuming this man on the cover is Matthias, and he is the star of this book. And he's always been the star. He's the handsome one, he's the popular one, and nobody is surprised when he is prophesized to be the one to save the world. So when he rides off with his grumpy and slightly unstable best friend in tow, no one has any reason to suspect that their journey will end in anything but success. Well, obviously they're all wrong. I'm really excited for this one, and I can't wait to see like a finished physical copy. The next book is The Blackhawks by David Ragg, and this one comes out on August 8th. I really wanted to mention this one because it's apparently perfect for fans of Scott Lynch and Nicholas Eames, and I can definitely tell that just by the cover. It screams Kings of the Wild to me. This one is a debut adult fantasy, and don't worry, I have some YA fantasy on this list as well, but this one was bought by HarperCollins. This is a planned duology that follows a soldier who has to escort a selfish prince after there was an attack on the nation's capital. Pursued by assassins and fanatics, these two end up joining a very deadly company of bickering mercenaries, and they have to cross a landscape torn by conflict. A band of mercenaries, people. If you know me at all, that's my hot keyword. It sounds so hilarious, and it also sounds like your classic shield and sword fantasy. The next book I have here is The Throne of the Five Winds by S.C. Emmett, and this one comes out on October 15th. This is the first installment to the Hostage of Empire series, and it's supposed to be this really ruthless East Asia inspired epic fantasy. It follows a girl named Yala, who is the lady-in-waiting to the princess of this vanquished kingdom, and she finds herself having to navigate through this treacherous imperial court. Yes, I know we have heard this plotline so many times in YA, but I feel like it being adult fantasy, it can take it to even higher levels, and it has the opportunity to be a lot more ruthless and brutal, which is what I'm hoping for. Also, I really love this cover. I really like how the top of it shows warriors riding on horses. It definitely gives me that high fantasy vibe. Next, I have Criers War by Nina Verla, and this one comes out on October 1st. This is the author's debut novel, and it's the start of a new YA epic fantasy that follows two girls whose romance could possibly begin a revolution. Yes, I know, there's a lot of romance in that synopsis, which I normally disinfect with bleach, but there is just something about this cover that intrigues me. It kind of looks like you're looking at a wall down in a tomb, and like the sunbeams from the surface are hitting it. You see what I'm seeing, or have I been playing too much Uncharted? So this novel begins with Lady Crier, who is the daughter of the ruthless king, and she belongs to the Autome, who are robots that were once made by humans and now rule this world that is torn apart by oppression. So life is very tough until she meets Ayla. Ayla is beautiful and vicious, but she is human. So I am seeing this enemies to lovers trope happening, and I'm not hating it. Plus LGBTQ plus kind of servicing here. Sounds pretty legit, and I'm here for it. Now this next book is probably the most well-known book on this list, and that is the Harp of Kings, and it comes out on September 3rd. Now, I have always wanted to read a fantasy book that is from the perspective of a bard. And this is it, people. Okay, well, I've read Name of the Wind, but this is something new. This is my dream book, and my expectations for it are so freaking high that it might be a disaster show. It's basically about 3 characters who have to find a missing harp, and their journey has the potential to change the fate of the nation. I don't know. I honestly just want them to go into a tavern and start playing some songs like freaking Skyrim. It is set in ancient Ireland, and the author has a very lyrical and kind of folklore writing style, which has me a little worried because that kind of writing style is normally a hit or miss for me. But other than that, I'm excited. Next, I have Dark Blade by Steve Feasey, and this comes out on July 11th. This is a YA fantasy that is being compared to Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. There's the hook, and it's working because they have me. But what actually intrigued me the most is that this book apparently has loads of sword and sorcery adventure elements, and I eat that stuff up like cereal. This follows a boy named Lan who doesn't know where he comes from, and by his 15th birthday, he is prophesized to wield Dreadblade, which is an ancient sword that is able to slay these terrible monsters. There's also a murder mystery element thrown into the storyline about a king who is murdered, and even though his daughter doesn't want the crown, she is the only one who is able to find out who killed him. So there's a lot going on here, but nonetheless, I want it. So the 7th book I have here is A Lord of Secrets by Brianna Tinsey, and this comes out on July 25th. This is a debut fantasy novel, and it sounds like it was made for Hufflepuffs and Gryffindors. It's supposed to be a heartwarming story about saving the people you love without destroying the world and yourself. It's following an outlaw wizard, and the Mages Guild is not happy about the choices he has made, so they have decided to imprison his grandfather. And Gray is having trouble finding him, but luckily an escape temple slave might possibly be the key to saving his grandfather. This is apparently set in a very dark and troubled world with a protagonist that is very humorous but also principled. Unlike other wizards, Gray insists on bearing the cost of the use of magic on him instead of pushing it onto others. So it sounds like it has a really good balance of good and evil, and it sounds right up my alley. And the next book I have here is Night of Stars by Tom Lloyd, and this one comes out on June 27th. Okay guys, we have another book about a ragtag group of mercenaries, and they are tasked with the very dangerous job to travel to the Mages Isles, which is full of powerful wizards and dragons, to try and save one of their allies. The tagline here is actually my favorite. A lot can happen in a few days when you're a bunch of trigger-happy drunks surrounded by pirates, wizards, and monsters. Just take my money. Now, I believe this book takes place in the same world as the author's previous series, and even the characters are the same, so I have already added his previous series to my TBR, so I have a lot of catching up to do, which I'm really excited to do that because his books just sound like something I'm really going to enjoy. So I'm so excited for a possibly new author to add to a favorites list. And that's it. Those are 8 upcoming fantasy books that you might not have known were coming out soon. Your TBR may have gotten a little bit bigger. Tell me down below in the comments which one that you're intrigued by the most. Honestly, for me, I can't choose because, I mean, I made this list for a reason. Go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. I upload videos every single week. Follow me on Instagram at HollyCartsBooks and on Twitter at HollyNiece. And until we meet again, happy reading.